They did squares.
We did squares at home. Yeah, we did scratchers.
And then
Did you say Lindsay loves scratchers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nolan does too. Nolan's won $2,000.
That's what it
on a
was.
Scratcher.
Yeah.
200 and 500 and 2,000.
nice.
And I think a couple other like 50s or something. It's just like insane.
For the kids, they did candy, and you could come up and pick candy. So the first quarter, I won, and
You better have full-size candy bars.
they were the big bags.
Okay.
Big bags of candy. So it was I won first quarter, and Parker won for the kids. So she came and got a bag of Sour Patch Kids. Then second quarter,
Strong pull.
Brooklyn won for the kids. Then third quarter, Jen won, and Riley won for the kids. So
You don't
she
need
got
to
her.
keep saying for the kid. It's the
If
kid.
you mention
Right.
a kid, we know it's for the kids.
So the
Here's an adult one, and then the kid one.
So we're going down to the end, and Max just like pissed because he hasn't gotten any candy. And then they throw that touchdown to change the score to 2-0,
Yeah.
and those were his numbers. And he was like, "Hell yeah!"
So all your kids won.
all our kids
That's
won.
That's very
Like,
nice.
Clean
The
sweep
kids
it.
one, though.
They won the kids one, not the adult one.
Oh.
Welcome to our Film Fathers podcast, the definitive podcast about fatherhood, film, and fatherhood in film. This is Jelani, and with me as always are a guy who knows the procedure when he's being robbed, and a guy whistling Dixie out his ass, Martin and Brady.
I'm broke, Luther. Now I know you're going to give me my old job back because nobody can take shit the way I take shit. Now shut up before I stick that mop up your ass, Luther.
But inevitably, the further you run from your sins, the more exhausted you are when they catch up to you. And they do. Certain. It will not fail.
This week, we're cracking open the vault, literally, because we're talking about bank heist movies, specifically two classics in the genre, Set It Off and Inside Man. Starting in 1996, F. Gary Gray's vision wasn't just about the money. It was about survival, sisterhood, and breaking out of a system that's stacked against you. Then we have Spike Lee's vision, with a bank robbery that's more than meets the eye, a detective trying to piece it all together, and a social commentary that hits just as hard today as it did back then. These two films stand tall in the heist genre, but they also bring something unique to the table, a perspective shaped by race, class, and power. They're not just about the crime. They're about the why behind it. Who did it better?
I think I have an answer for which movie I like better. But this is my first time seeing Set It Off.
I was going to ask because,
Yeah.
and we, Jelani and I know that you are relatively new to Inside Man.
Yeah, and Inside Man was like...
This isn't your
You guys
first,
kept
but-
saying Inside Man years ago, and I was like, you guys really love The Insider? I thought you were talking about the, whatever, Russell Crowe movie, The Insider.
yeah.
I totally forgot, but yeah, Inside Man, this is my second time watching Inside Man. Fucking love Inside Man.
Now you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get the hype there. But yeah, my first time watching Set It Off. I'll let you guys kind of start us off with Set It Off.
Well, so I've seen Set It Off, and we'll obviously dive into it a little bit. To me, it's not even remotely close. Like, Inside Man is so definitively better, infinitely better. It's awesome. Which,
Yeah.
to your point,
Yeah.
we've loved this movie.
This
for
is a
long
good
time.
pairing. I thought this was
Yeah.
an interesting to watch them together.
So
good call, Jelani. Thank you.
I do like the pairing that we ended up with. I wish we were able to we had done Set It Off with Widows.
Yeah.
I think that would have been
And
a
that-
really good pairing.
I thought about that a few times
Because you could have seen the difference. And
Yeah.
granted, give F. Gary Gray some slack because this was his second film.
Second film, yeah.
Like-
and it was the '90s. It's very '90s. This
Yes.
movie is. We talked about that, and I think it's some other stuff that we of the time movies, and yeah, this is very much a '96
Yeah.
movie.
And it's, coming off of Friday, so he had some success there. And then putting this together. But it's very 90s, but it still has all of the elements, and it does have a lot of that heart, right? It has more of a storyline, more than just thinking about, okay, how are we going to plan the heist? Because we all love a good heist film, like the planning, the execution, the double cross, the everything that goes into a heist. And this one was like, yeah, there's going to be the heist, but this is like people who aren't criminal masterminds or don't have time to just sit around and think shit
they're
up. Right? So I did like that.
Vivica A. Fox. You like Vivica A. Fox?
I do, as has been discussed.
But yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen this in a while, and I will say that this movie was preceded by the soundtrack for me.
Yeah, Jelani and I have talked about the soundtrack many times.
It was one of the first 3 CDs that I got from BMG for a penny when I signed up. So, yeah, the soundtrack hit hard for me, and then I finally saw the movie, and so, but yeah.
So do you know it really well, like the soundtrack? You've played it.
I don't know
Back
it
and forth.
inside and out, but
Yeah.
I can tell you a couple of the big hits. Like even the one that surprised me that I used to play all the time was the Ray J song "Let It Go." Mm-hmm. That was one that I
Yep.
forgot was on here. I was
Same.
like, "Oh yeah, that's right." But yeah, there's
So the number one, Jelani and I think you and I are in agreement on this. Track number 4.
track 4, "Days of Our
Days
Lives."
of Our Lives from Bone.
Thugs.
That one was like legitimately an awesome Bone song that like existed outside of any of their albums. So
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a video for it.
there is, and it's pretty much just clips I
From
think,
the
from
movie?
the show. Yeah, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Um,
And you barely catch it in the movie. Like I caught it, but
Yeah.
I think it could easily have slipped through without anybody noticing. The opener is "Set It Off."
Yes.
And I remember that song pretty vividly. In Vogue.
The En
For
Vogue
sure.
song is the one.
Don't
Yeah.
Let Go.
don't let go.
Yeah, that definitely and was memorable in the movie.
Why is that, Martin?
The love making scene.
Well, to that note, I remember "Sex Is on My Mind." I don't remember the artist Blue Light specifically, but and then there was what was the other one? It might have been MC Light. Come on,
Okay.
but it was a good one
Yeah,
Yeah.
good soundtrack
for its
yeah,
time.
for sure.
I will say I'll add a little bit of color. This movie's pretty bad. I
It's a little long.
I remembered
like,
it more
something.
fondly in my brain.
Yeah.
I can see that.
then-
I remember thinking I would have loved it if I had seen it back then.
Yeah, I was like, this is just keep being it's ridiculous after ridiculous scenes over and over again, and I'm just like, what in the hell are we doing right
and
now?
a little bit of overacting.
A little?
Queen,
A little?
okay, maybe a lot. I'm trying to be I'm trying to be generous. But yeah, like Queen Latifah's a good actress, but really not so much in this. She's definitely overacted.
This was
a lot.
early for her.
It was
Yes.
early for her,
And she
but
was-
but you could see the talent. You could see something there.
Right.
I think
she wasn't the
So-
equalizer yet.
No. She wasn't even Chicago yet, right?
No, I think this is one of her first roles actually, and she
Yeah.
said one of her favorites because she just got to be kind of a badass of
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah.
But the dialogue the writing was not good in like a lot of the movie. The just multiple scenes, like the car through the windows, like why they're counting the bills individually when they rob the bank. Like,
Yeah. It's just I see where they were trying to go with it. And that's why, like, honestly, thinking about Widows, right?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah,
that's when you take it and you're like, you flip it, right? It's like, okay, how do you do a heist movie? And we've got a bunch of heist movies that are coming in. And again, this is early for
Yeah.
everybody
I
involved.
think Set
here.
It Off walked so widows could run.
Yeah.
or whatever the phrase is.
prophetic.
With $1 million on their back, knowing how much it weighs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all that stuff was great about Widows. Like it definitely. I got that. I thought about it a few times throughout watching this movie. That Widows was just obviously a superior movie, but just because it was a more real story. But this was, it was a precursor to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's also funny to just look at the casting of like who was in the movie, and like obviously you have the main characters. You have Jada Pinkett, you have Vivica A. Fox, you have Queen Latifah, you have
Vivica's coming off of, I think they said she auditioned while she was on set for Independence
Day.
And like Jada and Will, obviously
So this-
connection there.
But was that like their first? Yeah. Was that her first movie or
Yeah.
those two pairs? Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
And then Jada as well. Is this her
No,
first
I
movie?
feel like
No.
Jada's been acting for
She
a
was
while.
the lead.
Yeah, she had been on
Right.
TV shows.
Oh, she was in Nutty Professor, but that's
That's 96,
same year.
though,
Same
right?
year, yeah.
So, but hasn't she been in Jason's Lyric and stuff like that
Yeah, let's
before?
see. That's probably right.
I feel like she had been in the game for a while.
She was in the Tales from the Crypt movie,
Yeah.
1995, known
Yeah.
for.
Um,
Damn, we could've
episode of Doogie Howser.
But
Different
movie
world.
wise,
Dude, she was in 47 episodes of a
yeah,
different
she
world.
was on a different world for a long time.
Yeah, so I mean that was definitely where she would have been would have been known from
Okay,
at
that's
the time.
right.
Low Down Dirty Shame was in '94.
Okay. Yep.
So-
Right, you're right.
Yeah, she had some things under her belt.
Yeah.
But
Tupac Temptations video '95.
yeah, because she was friends with Pac too.
Girl in red lingerie, uncredited.
Oh. But then even like the supporting cast members of John C. McGinley.
Yeah.
Did not remember him. in this
Oh
movie
yeah,
by any means.
I remember him big time in this.
Love Johnny C from Scrubs.
Did you know who his partner is? Did you recognize her?
I can't even remember what she looks like now.
She was Rock's wife, Charles S. Dutton.
Oh yeah, I totally did. I made a mental note of it, but now it's been a while.
Yeah, that's
funny.
yes, absolutely, Roxy.
Ella Joyce,
Ella Joyce. Yes.
Absolutely remembered that. Yeah,
Eleanor Emerson.
I called it right off the bat. I'm like, yeah, Rock's wife.
F. Gary Gray makes another cameo.
Of course,
Uh-huh.
Peter Berg style. Did he do it before the Berg?
He might have.
He might have been. I think he
Didn't
was.
do it before Hitchcock though.
And then my favorite cameo, which again didn't need to be there, I guess, but Dr. Dre as
Oh,
the
yeah.
gun runner.
I thought he did.
Yeah,
He did pretty well.
I would say I disagree with you that it didn't need to be there. Like,
Yeah.
considering the situation, I thought he was perfectly cast.
I thought he was perfectly cast. He
Yeah.
played it pretty well.
Yeah, not too big of a role.
Yeah.
I would say arguably he doesn't necessarily do anything in the movie. Like, even the culmination, it's just more like, damn.
I kind of like it. I kind of like that they cut back to like everything's live on the
It's like
on TV.
you think he's gonna like
watching it.
they're gonna roll out and go like save him.
That's what I
It's
thought
like
was
they're
gonna
just
happen.
watching on the news and it's just like, oh shit.
Oh shit! I knew her.
Yeah.
The debut of Kimberly Elise
Yeah.
was the fourth in our of our group here.
Which I did not like her acting in this.
No.
It's not strong in my
No.
opinion.
Yeah.
But again, not exactly shut up against a murderer's row of acting chops for during this movie at least.
And then let's not forget Blair Underwood, who
Yeah.
has not aged, might be a vampire.
Yeah, what's the deal? He looks exactly the same.
Does look the same as he's always looked.
Right.
I mean, we just saw him in in Longlegs, right?
He was in Long Legs.
God,
right.
I would have not pulled that.
And he looks exactly the same as he did in this movie.
You're right.
Which is crazy. That's like 30 years.
To be fair, Nicolas Cage looks the same back then too.
That's a good one. Speaking of which, total sidebar, but
I was gonna say what?
Nicolas Cage was in this?
No, I'm talking horror. Osgood Perkins, the guy who did Longlegs, is gonna do a Stephen King movie called The Monkey.
Oh, he's the one doing that.
Yeah.
I think you shared
Yeah,
that. It's like
so-
the first book you read or something.
Yeah, it was the first short story I've read by Stephen King, so I'm excited.
How
about
many
that
books about monkeys does Stephen King have? Doesn't he have Monkey Shines too?
one. No, that's a different movie that I thought was based on Stephen King because
Because of the monkey.
Because of the monkey.
And then
Monkey
Monkey
Shines
Man.
is just a movie. It has nothing to do with Stephen King. But I
Dev-
know that
Dev
it's
Patel.
so funny that you said that because my whole life I was been like Monkey Shines. That's a Stephen King thing because of the monkey on the cover of Skeleton Crew, which is where the monkey story is from.
Skeleton Crew.
Dev
that's
Patel's movie Monkey Man was the Stephen King book.
No, and then that confuses people even more.
yeah.
Funny.
But yeah, I mean, it like we said, it's not the greatest. It has its moments.
It's not Point Break.
An interesting tidbit, and I just maybe it should have said something. It said almost half of the budget for the movie
Music?
went to paying the use of the theme music from The Godfather. Just that one
For that
scene.
one scene?
Wow.
Half
And
the
that wasn't
budget.
even really worth it.
No, at all.
I mean,
It was actually a huge waste.
it would have been okay. I actually didn't mind the scene, but you didn't need the music with it. Like, just her doing the voice would have been what I thought was funny enough.
When I read that, I was like, well, that was a huge waste.
Isn't that crazy?
Someone's bad idea.
No, but I mean, like that you have to
That
spend
you have
that
to
kind
pay
of
that.
money. That's what I mean. Like, you should just be able to use that shit.
Well, that's what it's funny that you mentioned that because I just saw like a Instagram reel of David Spade and Dana Carvey talking about that for their movies, like for Wayne's World.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we couldn't use like a Led Zeppelin song because
Right.
that was 100,000.
Yeah, we've talked about that on a couple of movies.
yeah.
When I've seen those notes, I always find them fun.
They did great, and that's what happens. And they end up using songs they can, like Bohemian Rhapsody, and bring that to
Right,
whatever.
prominence.
Right,
Yeah.
that actually brings life to and,
Yeah.
and adds those people actually get royalties
Right.
out of the whole
Yeah.
idea.
Or the song I think it was like Dreamweaver from Wayne's World, where it's like that's a terrible song probably, but now I think of Wayne's World every time I hear that song.
I would say Tiny Dancer and
Almost
Almost
Famous.
Famous.
That's
For,
a
you know,
good
like
call.
movies, songs like that. I think Bohemian's a great call because that actually became this whole thing. and
Yeah, I mean,
everyone
it
knew
might have been big in the 70s too, but we weren't around. I don't know.
Well,
but
I think we could say without hesitation it was big. It was a big song.
yeah.
But yes, but
It had a resurgence for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't as expensive as Immigrant Song or something by Led Zeppelin.
or the theme music for The Godfather. Apparently.
Apparently.
I mean, like we said, it has its place. It fit a niche that wasn't being represented, right? Where you have a heist from, the black perspective. And being
Question,
able
though.
to,
Is it better than Dead Presidents?
God, that was pretty bad.
Remember we did it for Soundtrack September?
I do, and I'm trying to remember. I remember not thinking that movie was very good either.
I will say I felt like I guess they play kind of similar ideas of being in a society that doesn't value you. But that one I think was a little bit more of like coming back from the war, so that had a lot more like I don't want to
think it
say
had
universal issues,
Yeah.
but like
And it had a stronger, I think the first half of that movie was pretty strong. But Set It Off, I probably wouldn't mind watching again.
Set It Off.
A little bit more than
There's-
it's more rewatchable.
I
than
think there's
Dead
a
Presidents.
movie to be made in Set It Off, a good movie. I mean, I just don't think they did it. Like,
Yeah, there's a better movie under there somewhere.
Yeah.
somewhere.
But that's
Like
okay.
I think the rough skeleton of the idea works, but yeah, the acting was not great. Could have done without that girl's debut. Maybe throw a Janet Jackson in there, Halle Berry. Young Halle.
Yeah. The side plots. What do you think about like them getting her brother killed and then the baby going to DCFS after he drinks the cleaning fluid? Like,
I mean,
were they necessary?
Do we throw
I
that
understand
in?
the brother maybe.
throw that in with all the rest. That provided the
There's all like
the-
reasons
the
why
cop,
they were backed into a corner to
Yeah.
rob
which also
banks.
justified, McGinley seeing her on
on the bus and not stopping the,
last
bus.
robber and just being like, "This is the way things are. I killed her brother."
I kind of owe her one.
You don't buy that? You don't think you do that?
Absolutely not.
I think I put a sombrero
After
on.
killing everybody else?
I think I blended a little more to that bus instead of putting my face up against the glass.
I might have hit a little bit, yeah, because you don't know what he's going to do. But
And yeah, of course. Oh, God, there was just so many of those. I just kept writing like, "This is absurd that this is happening."
So I got some Tate technicalities.
I don't doubt it.
I didn't want to rag on it too much, but
Was it Queen Latifah taking 77 bullets at the end and still
was a lot of
still
bullets.
going
Still breathing?
strong?
it was sure holding the Desert Eagles in both hands like it's Goldeneye. Like everybody, most people know that those are very powerful guns, and you can't really just shoot them with one hand unless
the
you're like
kickback.
the kickback is
pretty
ridiculous,
strong,
and
yeah.
she's just running around with two of them. And then dragging the bodies out of the apartment to cover them up in the street. After they raided the apartment and shot
Yeah.
her brother.
Yeah,
Remember, they shot him. They shot him on the ground, but they shot.
Say he was outside.
Yeah, but the other police officer and Lorenz, the other bad guy, they were in the apartment, but then they dragged them down to the parking lot, and then we're like, "Oh, let's cover them up." It's like you wouldn't take them all the way down there to then cover them up.
Different time. Yeah. I really enjoyed Jada taking her mask off in the bank where Blair Underwood worked. If there was any semblance of like not being
Yeah,
they also didn't have costumes at all.
no.
Like
They got
they
got
had
worse.
different hair and glasses. I mean, something other than that would have been.
They sold masks.
Any type of mask would have been
Mike
better
Myers
than
mask?
just a wig, and glasses.
Your exact same hair that you've had the whole time you've been dating the bank manager. And then, just to be clear, with the translucent mask, you just take that off because the cop said your name.
And then
Plausible deniability.
Yeah.
him also getting the call to go to the restaurant, like that's not suspicious at all. Like
I mean, I think he kind of
knew
right?
it, right? But I mean, like
I don't know.
McGinley didn't figure
I
it
think
out.
the way they played that was he didn't necessarily know it. When he got there, he realized it, but still.
He was like 90% sure.
I thought he was sure when McGinley came and like showed him the video.
Yeah, I think
recognized.
I think he saw
her.
the video and recognized her.
Yeah.
Which,
So
although that was some pretty grainy video.
I mean, it was 96,
Right. Got to let that one off. But
So 10 years later,
Dun, dun, dun.
we are treated to Inside Man.
So, like I said, I only watched this a few years ago, loved it. And then this time around, I was like, yeah, but I was remembering it being like, yeah, it just had that one big twist. Like, it wasn't really that great of a movie. But then I started watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, I remembered again, like, I forgot that every aspect of it is good.
Yeah.
Denzel is amazing. I forgot how good he was. I forgot just how good Spike Lee's direction of it all is.
Yes.
Like, just the way they cut it all back and forth, and you don't really know what's going on, and they're interviewing the people when they're out, but they're still, then they cut back, they play with the time really well.
that's
And it's way more than just that last little twist.
Oh, there's all of the twists in between.
Yeah.
Like
So good.
when he asks them the question and they're trying to solve the riddle in the the command unit,
Yeah,
they're all
that's
like
great.
going back and forth and they're all like trying to figure it out. And then Chiwetel's like, "No, hang up the phone. It's this. It's this." He's like, "What? Say nothing. It's nothing."
And I like that they're still going after. They were arguing about it afterwards. They're like,
Yeah.
"No, wait." And they're like, "Guys, forget it. It's done." It's just very real.
Yeah, and
And that's
then
what Spike Lee's good at.
exactly. Then
How real people are.
when they bring in when they're playing the tape, the president's
Yeah.
speeches, and they're like, "It's Albanian." He's like, "Oh, I thought you spoke Albanian." He's like, "I never said I spoke Albanian. I just know it's Albanian."
Brings in his wife. He's like, "Oh shit, I got to call my ex-wife." Oh no, I ain't doing that. She hates me.
it's really, really that's an amazing, just little tidbit of a movie, but like that's a standout scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She brings a bag full of parking tickets.
You get rid of these? When he's talking to the one police officer, and he's like, "Did anybody ever pull a gun on you?" And he starts telling the story, and he's like, "Hey, how about we do a less with the color commentary?" Like just things like that. Like you're gonna have some people who have some ideas, bigoted ideas or whatever about the people that they protect and serve, and it's just like, yeah, let's stick to the facts, buddy. Let's answer the question. But just how, again, like the way that Spike is able to pull those elements in and bring them in to a part of a story that centers around a bank heist that really has nothing to do with them actually robbing the money in the bank, which everybody thinks that they're going for.
Yeah, that's the one of the twists.
Yeah.
Kind of the way you're alluding to.
Yeah.
And I'll start with the fact like the Clive Owen narrating right out of the gate is just perfect. He's exactly the right guy for everything that he is involved in this movie. He's the right narrator. He's the right actor.
Anyone else think they're smarter than me? Such a great line.
It also made me laugh because, and I'm going to butcher this, but I recently on TikTok I saw a Community clip where Donald Glover was like something. He like says something how he's like, "I think Clive Owen's like attractive to the point that I'm like questioning."
To the point that what?
He's like that I'm like questioning.
My own myself.
Yeah. For some reason, when I was watching this, and I saw Clive Owen. That's where my brain went right away. I was like, "Oh, the Troy clip from Community."
Troy and Abed in the morning.
I wanted Clive Owen to take the James Bond mantle, but I think
Ship sailed.
Yeah,
Yeah, ship
It's
sailed
before they got Craig, after Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah,
he would have been a good one after Pierce for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
surprised-
I don't really have a complaint with Craig, but I think
No,
no, me neither.
I think
George
People had a
Clooney.
complaint that he was blonde because he's traditionally really dark.
But
haired,
I think yes, I agree. Clive would have been good. I am pretty sure that this is. I think this is Spike Lee's best movie.
Ooh, that's a bold statement.
Yeah, that's a very bold statement.
I know.
We'd have to
Have you seen Malcolm X?
Right now, it feels like that because I just recency bias. But yeah,
I've seen, I think, most of Malcolm X. I can't guarantee I've seen it all.
There's some people that don't love the way that how he played that out, but I think that's just a very, very powerful film, and I think Denzel does an amazing job on that.
Maybe entertaining is the right word too.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
think,
you go.
I think you might. Yeah,
'Cause, yeah, he's obviously got a ton of them.
He Got Game?
I think this is way better than He Got Game.
Okay.
You know, I like He Got Game. I think this is way better.
Yeah.
When we talked about He Got Game, and I think there's flaws in that movie.
Sure.
This is to me a very, very damn good movie. I was actually trying to get a guy at work, younger guy at work, to watch it, and I hope he listened to me because I think yesterday or today was flying to Portugal, and he's like, "Oh, I need movies for the flight," and I was like, "Make Inside Man one of them."
One of them on there.
It's damn good.
it's better than 25th Hour, but 25th Hour is good.
That's actually would have probably been the one that came to mind. And I remember when we rewatched that, I still really enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite as good as I had in my memory. But
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
yeah, I think this is way better than that.
I really like Do the Right Thing, but that's where you're going. Maybe just entertaining. And, I mean, it's a totally different movie, but
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that one's probably.
And I think part of that is because it's not traditionally what Spike would do, but it was also not written for him.
Yeah, I remember.
I think it was a Ron Howard film before.
correct.
Inside Man.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but he put his own take on it. And
Right.
Don't
I
disagree
really-
with that, but it was
yeah.
initially he wasn't the initial.
I think that's why. Yeah, it all works really, really well.
What I loved about the heist part of it was the distraction tactics that they used. So, when they first get into the bank, they, first confiscate all the cell phones. Then they separate the employees and the customers.
Yeah.
Then after that, they switch it to separating the men and the women. Then they make everybody put on the jumpsuits. And then they're using only the Steve names or Steve variants.
Steve-O.
Steve-O's, right? And Stevies and planting the hostages and fake victims.
Planted
And then
the guy from The Wire.
Yeah.
moving victims around and keeping them moving so you don't know who you're sitting with. And I just thought that was
And that's what they're saying. Everyone could swear that they saw somebody, even when they thought they had someone that it might be.
Yep.
Someone else swore that they were not, that they were hostage with them.
Right.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's very, very brilliant.
My only question now, on the second time watching it, kind of knowing, is how did Clive Owen get the information of what was in the vault?
Yeah,
in the vault,
they
don't really get.
They don't give you the why.
There's no way he would know that there were diamonds and what exactly was in.
But
there.
I think the guy, the older gentleman, the diamond
Christopher
dealer.
Plummer?
No, not Christopher Plummer, but the guy who was in on it with them when he's sitting in the car. He
Yeah.
was the one who wanted them to kind of enact it, right? Clive Owen's just the muscle.
Oh,
I think
that's a fair.
He was the
was
one who
orchestrating it.
Yeah, he was the one who
But
knew-
are you just guessing that, or is there something that?
I don't think there was anything that popped up, but he
Okay.
was also the diamond guy and knew all
Yeah,
the
so
diamonds
maybe
and stuff.
he had some history on all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're in that diamond world. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
People talk.
People talk.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy all that.
Because I'm sure he had it valued.
But
and
again,
things
how
like-
would he know which number?
Again, that's
Yeah, somewhere along
somewhere
the
along the
line.
lines he got that information.
Yeah. All right.
I tell you what, you don't need it.
Right.
There are
you're
movies
digging
you
too deep.
do need the details.
I am digging just because I love the movie.
Yeah.
That's
And,
deeper than the latrine hole he dug.
My shithole.
Shithole.
he's gonna smell coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
And how do you plant that little diamond on him?
Oh, that's
That's an easy slide.
seeing,
easy, right?
seeing
It's
that
easy
move done.
nice pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch when they got the pizzas delivered?
I didn't, but I read it after the
What?
fact.
Guess where the pizzas were from?
Was it Sal's? I
Yeah.
did see it. I saw it on the thing, and I'm like, "Was that a reference to Sal's famous pizzeria?"
Yes. Pizzas were from Sal's.
That it is.
That's awesome. I did see that. Okay, awesome.
But yeah, just overall, I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, this is a heist movie. This is what you need for a heist movie. And it's just
And I was kind of to what you talked about earlier. To me, I almost didn't believe it was a Spike Lee movie because it just wasn't like any other Spike Lee movie I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? That is very kind of caught me off guard. And that's, again, one reason I think that it is his best. I think it just stands out. Unlike a lot of his other stuff. the cast is so deep.
So deep.
Like
Jodie Foster did really well in it too.
Yeah.
She was perfect.
I totally agree. She plays that well. Or
She
that,
plays
excuse me, that role.
What type of person does she play really well? What?
Oh, a magnificent cunt.
I was going to say Fixer, so
She
glad you
does.
picked that one up.
But I mean, even like Willem Dafoe's like 20 deep on
Yeah.
the you know.
Right next to Daryl Chill
I
Mitchell.
remember watching the credits in the beginning, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's a lot of people in this movie." You're right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a small role for Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe to be in. Like I didn't see anything about it, but like there's really no reason you need a name actor in that role
No.
to debate the weight or of of currency. And even she would tell Ejiofor same thing. Like
Well, he wasn't really a thing before this, right?
I suppose that's probably right. Maybe he's on the come up. I guess I like him in almost everything he's in, so I probably overweigh his
Yeah.
like what he'd been in.
Because he's a very talented actor, and I think like just again, like you said, you have Denzel, you have Willem Dafoe, you have Jodie Foster, you have Christopher Plummer, you have Chiwetel being in there. It's like, oh, okay, you don't have to do a whole lot of lifting, but you're also not going to be.
Love Actually was 3 years before this, and he's nothing in that movie. I mean, he's in it, but like not because of who he is.
right.
yeah. I mean, Christopher Plummer, having him is a big pull too. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Four Brothers, year before.
Oh yeah. Andre Benjamin, Mark Wahlberg, Tyrese,
Yeah,
and Garrett Hedlund.
I think it is. Is it Garrett Hedlund? It is.
Yeah,
I think.
that's right.
But yeah, it's a great film. I think anybody who likes a heist film needs to watch this and just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's brilliant that there's nothing to go after.
Yeah.
Right after they're done, they didn't do any. They didn't hurt anybody. There's no money stolen, so it's just like just bury it. But they also left it to where you're gonna get the crazy old Nazi.
Right.
You're gonna take him down. You know that at the end, and Denzel gets a ring for his lady,
Right.
who loves Big Willie and the Twins. So it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Well, I think
It's a great ending.
I think you're right too. Like this movie, on a linear time frame, I think it's still really good.
Yeah.
But the way that it's done with the jumping around, with the narration in the beginning, like if it just happens, I really do think it's still really, really
Yeah,
good.
it's good on its own, but
the way they
cut
did
it
it,
and
yeah.
the way they added some of the humor elements and the Spike Lee, some of the racial tension for all kinds. You got the with the Sikh and the Albanian,
Yeah.
Just all that kind of stuff adds the spice of New York into the picture, and it's great, and it all makes it work even better.
I think I read that Denzel ad-libbed the line to the Sikh about how he probably can get a cab though, and like literally everyone like kind of sort of provided some levity, and then also they rolled with it and it played.
Yeah.
It feels like a real New York moment.
I will say though, they run a risk of the girl involved because they said that there happened to be one girl in the bank who also had the same
Measurements.
measurements.
Fit the description.
But without, that would have actually been a pretty easy tell for her to be obviously
Yeah.
a bad one of the bad guys.
But I think then they probably would have not done that, right? Like they would have kept her in the jumpsuit.
You can only hide so much.
Our boy Ken Leung mentioned.
Yeah, dude, way deep. Another guy way deep in the cast.
Who's that?
He was the guy who said you can't hide good work like that.
Oh yeah, that was He's in Industry, the show I've been telling you guys about on HBO.
Lost and
Yeah.
Rush Hour, and he's been in a ton of things.
Dang it.
He was on Lost.
Yeah, I think he was down in the pit. Or
Oh,
yeah,
Man.
I kind of forgot.
Martin, I think we're both forgetting.
yeah. I think he was part of the Dharma
The
Initiative.
Dharma Initiative. Okay, I'll buy that.
I mean, I gotta trust Jelani. He's got the memory. Yeah, dude, Lost. 49 episodes.
Wow.
Twice as many episodes
forgot
as
about
Industry.
Yeah, well, Industry is only like 3 seasons in. Really good show though. You guys should watch.
He was in Old recently. There's a movie I'm looking for, which is what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping the faith. That's the name of it.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They couldn't go to my brain.
He's the karaoke
Karaoke,
salesman.
yep. 100%. It was in my brain. I couldn't come up with it.
He fakes the Asian accent at first, and he's like, "Guys, I'm just messing around." Yeah, I don't know why I don't remember that, but he totally is.
That's where I was going. Sorry, I digress.
No, that's fine.
That's
I
a
love
good
a digression.
It's a good digression.
If you know what keeping the faith is, then you're going to appreciate that.
Ben
if you
Stiller,
don't,
Ben Stiller, and
Edward Norton,
Edward Norton,
and Dharma,
Jenna Elfman. Why do I know her name?
Dharma and Greg.
Right, I know, but I mean, like, I don't have to remember her
Dharma.
name. The Dharma Initiative.
Boom.
Whoa!
This is what I'm saying.
Connections are being made. Synapses are firing. Pepe Sylvia's coming in the room.
Carol.
But there is no Carol in HR.
Did you guys catch the 3 Al Pacino references? Movie references.
Serpico.
Correct. I don't need your status report, Serpico.
What were the other ones? Godfather, no.
There is a Godfather reference. He says, "I say we go after them all, Keith. Michael Corleone style."
Okay.
That's she would tell.
And is there a Scarface reference?
Nope.
Is there
He
Carlito's
actually
Way.
says the movie, and he says the name of the
Carlito's
movie.
Way?
Cruising?
You saw Dog Day Afternoon. You're
Oh,
stalling.
yeah.
Dog Day. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. 3 references.
Did you guys like Dog Day? I forget. It was your first time watching
That
it.
was my first
Or did you
time,
watch
and I
it, right?
thought it was just okay.
Yeah.
I think I had there was a greatness to built up.
I had remembered it more fondly than watching it the second time.
Did we watch
But
that?
'cause I can't remember why we watched it.
I don't remember.
That movie was very overrated. Let's
Did
talk
we
about
watch
Keeping
that
the
with-
Faith.
Yeah, with the remake. What was it? Breaking.
Oh, yeah, with
Yeah.
Boyega.
Boyega. Yeah. Breaking. Is that what it was called?
That's not what it's called. I don't think. Was
It might be. It might
Is
be
that it?
breaking.
Oh,
was
I
something
didn't think there was
simple
more
like
to
that.
it than that.
Yeah. I thought we were possibly watch that with Swordfish because they reference it a lot in Swordfish.
Well, Swordfish.
It is breaking. Good
It's
call.
a throwaway movie, right?
For
Well,
Except for one
let's,
scene.
Let's not gloss over it. I seem to remember one particular scene. Ball bearings.
sure. Lots of them.
Lots of ball bearings.
Travolta.
All right, I'll rewatch
You're
it.
the one who, when we were talking about Pulp Fiction, said Travolta hasn't been in any good movies, and then I went through them, and I'm like, God damn it, he's right. There's nothing.
Yeah, man.
There's nothing other than Pulp Fiction, really.
No, man. It's
Very-
not.
and Face Off, of course. Face Off is so good, so good.
It's
It's Gave us that JT Money video. As always, we're no martyrs. We're doing it for the money. Well, actually, we do it for the likes. So please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you listen. Thanks, and go to bed.